Like, but it's like, dude, like when I became a sports writer, I didn't know I was gonna get to do all this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to write stories.
Yeah.
Like I literally have seen the world because of a basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Man, look, it's
And they paid for it.
Yeah, man, you know, like, spirits, like, I was really inspired, like, Maynard Jackson, Martin Luther King, Maynard Jackson, Andrew Young. Man, you like, and this a tribute to the Reverend Jose Williams. Was in the civil rights, moving the needle with
I
Dr.
thought you was
King.
cutting hair.
Nah, I wasn't cutting hair. I did when I was at the Florida A&M University.
I can't wear that.
Yeah.
But you look good.
But hey, y'all talking about that inspiration and culture. So let's get into it.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let me stop.
No, you
I can
good.
BS with him all day.
No. That's Let's talk that talk. Let's be free.
Yeah.
This is a platform where we talk about the business of basketball and the culture that surrounds it. You know, obviously, Marc, I already told you how I feel about you, your work. You're able to just bridge that gap of culture and also sports to make it digestible to people who come from different places and different environments. But I want you to talk a little bit about, growing up in the Bay.
Yeah. Growing up in the Bay was beautiful, especially like San Jose. It was interesting. Just a little while ago, I got a FaceTime call from Asani Swan. Carmelo Anthony's like right-hand person, right? And we grew up across the street from each other.
Wow.
Like her uncle is Lynn Swan. And my block that I grew up on was Black, it was Filipino, it was El Salvadorian, it was Mexican, it was white, it was everything. And so I was able to grow up around numerous different cultures, you know, but I still went to the Black church.
Yeah.
And I still went with my mom to the Afro-American Center, San Jose Afro-American Center, and we used to watch, when she had her meetings, I'll go watch Eyes on the Prize. And watching those documentaries as a kid, as 8, 9, 10-year-old, it certainly has a strong impact on you. Learning that history, learning that pain, learning that suffering, learning that what they overcame. And like I saw that as a kid, and I think ultimately like things that my mom went through, things that my dad went through racially, even things that I went through racially, because even though I was in such a diverse place, there was some racism in that place too, that I dealt with when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. Like, that today, I think influences how I write, because I am well-traveled. I've been to quinceañeras, I've eaten lumpia, but I've definitely been to the blackest of the blackest of the black stuff of my people, right? So I feel like I have a good view of what the world is, what different cultures are, and also, what racism is, and I think when I write, the one thing that's important to me is, we have some people that are amazing at breaking news.
Yeah.
But I want to be amazing at making you think, making you, maybe if you don't understand, after you read it, you understand. Or maybe it needs to be a firecracker in your face to wake you up about the realities of a situation. So I give, like when I got the job at the Undefeated, now Anscape, like it was the greatest blessing I've ever gotten in my career, because it was basically like, go. Do what you do, go. Like, we're not gonna stop you, go deeper.
Yeah.
Like, raise hell.
Man.
And I feel like I've been able to educate, influence. Like, I've had Black coaches and Black general managers say, man, because of you, I think we got an opportunity. Because of you, like, people paid attention to us and it brought light to us. And so those are the things that make me feel good, because those have generational impact, Yeah, I broke a lot of news, but for me to write a story that could open a door for a woman, open a door for somebody Black, open a door for people to realize, like, you know, why this group of people are in pain. Or maybe like to just show you a culture that you don't know, you know? I love it, man. I just love, you know, just storytelling. And, you know, one of the things I was thinking about in terms of, you know, I was able to get into the Hall of Fame today. You guys picked a good day to talk to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, and Courtney knows this because Courtney's been very, I mess with Courtney, but Courtney's a beautiful person. He's helped me interview a lot of players, but he ain't offered me the opportunities to talk to these players unless he trusts me. And I don't think and this is not, you know, saying I'm this or that, it's just, I take a lot of pride in the fact that players will, you know, move the curtain for me.
Yeah.
You know, coaches, their family members, you know, I just saw Chris Paul's dad and Carl Anthony Towns' dad, and they're like family to me, you know what I mean? Like Chris Paul's and their family, like I went to Winston-Salem State on a PJ with them because they wanted me to tell the story of Chris graduating from Winston-Salem. But you know how much an honor it was to write that story? They felt like I was gonna give it the right, you know, make it taste right on you know, when it was told. And like I've known Carl since he was 15, so his dad trusts me. You know, like it's not easy to get that trust, and I don't take it for granted, because if the players didn't allow me to tell their stories and didn't open up for me and tell me intimate details, and I'm not sitting here right now.
No, I mean, just sharing that about writing for you know, about Chris, and it shows what the love for sport and the integrity within writing can take you. You know, so that is a testament within itself, and also too being inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's coming.
Perfect.
Coming, but yeah, got the. It's funny. I found out a couple days ago that the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame was going to give me the Gowdy Award for print.
Yeah.
Which means you're in.
Yeah.
Like you're in the Hall of Fame, and so my emotions have been interesting in the last couple of days, and I haven't even shared some of this with my wife because we've been busy doing this TV show thing, which is another thing. But like when I was on the plane yesterday, man, I was like, I cried a little bit. I don't think anybody saw me, but it was because I'm like, I don't know that I wonder if people like understand like what I do or understand my language, you know, or appreciate what I do, and you know, if perhaps what things I write about perhaps cost me some money. Maybe if I stayed the straight and narrow and didn't want to, you know, bend the iron. I'm not saying I'm broke. I'm doing good. Like, let's get it twisted. Like,
I'm no brokey now.
Yeah, like, but
yeah.
There are certainly people in my industry doing amazing, and I wonder, like, what if I would have just? But ultimately, respect is something money can't buy.
No, for sure.
And being able to, like, I had a job previously where I felt like I was, you know, a monkey banging cymbals. And now I feel like I'm free, man. Like, how could I push the button today? You know what I mean? And I know I'm rambling, man, but
no.
I'm just kind of in this vibe right now that just today is a very beautiful day for me. And I'm gonna just shut up and let y'all ask.
Nah, we're gonna celebrate you. Courtney, you here with us, sir. I mean, let's talk about it. Marc.
It's champagne, by the way. You know, when people get into certain places, they like to celebrate. So this is little.
Nah, for sure.
Look at her. She's My wife is like, this dude. But she gonna give me a pass today.
Now we gotta celebrate you.
Yeah.
We got your friend Courtney here too, who you've known for a
dude.
very long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Courtney, obviously you and Marc have built an amazing relationship. He talks about the trust that you guys have, but you're also a connector from Atlanta.
Man.
I mean, we've had talks, we've met. When did it start for you? When did it connect for you that, man, I have this gift to be able to connect people and make things happen?
So, I mean, I get that question quite a bit. So all of my friends, they have, hard skills, CPAs, CEOs of hospitals, accountants. I'm probably one of the only guys in my crew that have been able to find and connect the dots, find a connective tissue, connect this person with that person. You know what, this person will go well with this person. But coming up, there were no jobs for people that really had soft skills. So when you look on a job board, you don't see a job posting that says, if you know how to network, we're gonna pay you $100,000. You always say it, if you're a CPA, you need three years experience, a doctor, whatever. And so it wasn't until I was working with the Orange Bowl committee down in Miami. Mr. Tribble, who was the executive director, Eric Palms, who was associate executive director, they called me into the office. And so anytime you get called into the office, you think you're in trouble. They said, Courtney, your job is going to be to oversee the entire ACC contingency. So that was Commissioner Swafford, who's the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference at the time. You had Commissioner, you had just the associate commissioners, the chancellors and the presidents from pretty much all the respective universities at the time. So we're on the bus. And it was just one Courtney Scott. And I was able to build a strong relationship with the contingency from the ACC, and I kept in contact with them. And so after that, I said, aha, I think I got something, but how do you monetize and materialize that? And so at the time, Commissioner Swafford, the ACC basketball tournament was in Atlanta, and they had me working with their VIPs. I said, I think I got something, but how do you monetize this and materialize it? And so everybody would always tell me, Courtney, man, you really know how to network and build relationships. And so I've always wanted to work in sports because my parents exposed me. I grew up in a two-parent household with my mom and my dad. And so they exposed me to the NBA. They had someone they knew that worked in the NBA. And I would go back in the locker room. So I always knew I wanted to work in sports, but I'm 50, and when I was coming up, there was no internet. You had to really dig. And so I was like, man, how do go to the library with faxing? And I was like, man, how do I get a job in sports and I don't have a hard skill? That has always been the rub. So I had a lot of great jobs, and it was probably about 9 years ago. This was not too long after my dad died. I said, Mom, I'm gonna start my own firm. I said, I'm only gonna work with lottery picks, only lottery picks, the best of the best. And mind you, and all I had was the ability, I won't say all I had, because I graduated from the best college in the world, Florida A&M University. I gotta plug my university, but I had my college degree. I know Marc might think otherwise.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how you feel about that?
I got 3 degrees, but we're not gonna get, it's about, he's talking.
And so I said, man, how do I use the ability to network to get in sports?
Yeah.
And I just started leaning on all my relationships, calling people. And so how Marc and I connected, the Hawks had this thing called the Hawks Mosaic.
Oh, yeah.
You remember we were at the Mosaic?
I was wondering what, I forgot.
Yeah, we were at the Mosaic, and Marc was a keynote speaker. And I said, how you doing? I ran him down. It was a family I was, working with. I said, you need to meet Marc, because, the son's gonna be a lottery pick in the draft. And Marc is the guy so I just walked up to him. I said, how you doing, sir? My name is Courtney Scott, blah, blah, blah. I need for you to meet his family. The families met, and that's
Was this
Wendell. It was a Carter's.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a Carter's. It was Mr. and Miss Carter.
That was the first one?
There was Mr. and Miss Carter, Wendell. That was my first family. Wendell got drafted in 2018. Wendell went 7 to the Chicago Bulls. And so after Wendell, I've just been able to just use different things and leverage my network to get from point A to point B. But just having this relationship with Marc has been extremely important because, you know, you get I get inquiries, want to break stories of the players, but it has to be someone who I'm comfortable with that really understands where these young guys come from. And I also make sure that the parents meet Marc before we even get on the phone.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's rule number one because, you know, growing up, my parents, you didn't do anything without my daddy.
Especially at their age, right?
At their age, yeah. Like, you know, my mom, but my dad was the end all be all. And so I just have taken that and saying, hey, Mr. Miss Parent, probably got this opportunity, but I need for you to talk to Marc or you need to talk to this person. And so that's what I've been able to do. And the parents started talking. You know, that's how I've been able to get from point A to point B. Is solely 100% on networking and building relationships. I won't say networking, but building relationships, sustaining and maintaining relationships.
Becoming a plug.
Man, I trying to be the plug and the socket at the
there
same
we
time.
Go. There we
go.
Marc, did you always know that, or did you always have the desire to be a writer? Or was it basketball first? Because I gotta ask, we're on LeagueBiz, we're talking about business and basketball, but did you think that, did you have hoop dreams, or was it like, nah, I just want to be around the game and write?
I realized my hoop dreams, but the reality wasn't always memorable.
Yeah.
I was probably a different kind of kid, man, because, you know, to his point, we're aging. We may be the same age. I'll tell you after.
I'm a little bit older, way older.
Yeah, we'll go with that. No, when I was in the 7th grade, I was fortunate to, you know, I went to this school, shout out to Silverdale Middle School. They had a career day and a guy from the Warriors came. And we got to pick like 3 different people, and I'm like, I'm gonna go listen to this dude from the Warriors, because he might have free tickets, bumper sticker, t-shirt, something, right? Yeah. And so I go listen to him, and at that time, I'd started playing basketball in the 6th grade, and I really, really fell in love with it. And I think, you know, I played baseball and soccer and football, but just basketball just grabbed me, you know? And but I was a kid that was reading Sports Illustrated in elementary school.
Wow.
I was reading the sports page in elementary school. I would stay up till 11 o'clock at night before Sports Center and watch the local news to see what happened. Right, watching games all the time. And I remember seeing the stat in Sports Illustrated that said less than 2% of all the stat said less than 2% of all college basketball players make it to the NBA.
Wow.
Now, this is like mid-'80s, right? The influx of international players has not arrived yet. But that stat, like, I was a realistic kid, like that hit me, Courtney. I was like, less than 2%, like, how good do I gotta be to play in this league? And at that time, like, it wasn't 30 teams yet, it was 24. So I was like, what can I do? So going back to the guy from the Warriors that spoke to my class, for some reason he pointed at me and he goes, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was like, I want to play for y'all. And he said, well, I'm not going to tell you that you can't, but, you know, you're not going to be able to play forever. What if you get hurt? What if you don't make it? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. And he said, well, my advice to you is if you combine what you love most in life with what you do best in school, you'll find a job that you're happy with every day. I was like, man, if I can find that dude now, I'd like to take him to like a magnificent dinner. Like that advice that he gave me in the 7th grade was like, I listened. I was a kid that listened to, my dad told me to listen to elders. When elders talk, listen, don't speak. My dad taught me every time you talk, you lose an opportunity to learn something, right? And so I thought about it, and he was like, okay, what I do best is I could write, because I suck in math, I suck in science. What I love most, sports. Why not be a sports writer? I'm like, if I can't be at the Super Bowl, if I can't be at the World Series or NBA Finals as a player, why not be there in some capacity, be there as a writer?
Yeah.
And so, Mrs. Thompson, if you're out there, I love you. Thank you. I was in a program called Horizons where they called it like School Without Walls. And they had us in this trailer with walls, but it was just a really creative, dope thing that they put me into. And the teacher's like, Miss Thompson's like, you got to write somebody in the field that you're interested in tomorrow. So I wrote a letter to a guy named Marc who was a columnist for the San Jose Mercury News, because I'm reading the paper. Like, I know this dude is the Skip Bayless of the San Jose Mercury News. Like, people didn't like what he had to say. It was real controversial stuff, but I was like, I loved it. This man wrote me a letter back. Right, there's no internet at this time, right? There's no email. He could have easily not got my letter. He could have easily threw my letter away. He not only took my letter, he wrote me back and told me everything I needed to do from 7th grade through college.
Wow.
To be a sports writer.
Gave you the blueprint.
And I was like, man, this is like a Bible of knowledge here. And I followed it to the T. He was like, write on the school paper, the school yearbook in junior high. So I immediately joined the school paper, and I covered the 8th grade flag football team when I was in junior high. And so if you go back and you go to the Silverdale Junior High archives, you'll find a paper with my name on it, and it was a 7th grader's decision to put the J.
Wow. For
Marc J. Spears. That was a 7th grader's decision. I stuck with it.
Nah, that's,
My middle name's Joseph, you know what I mean? Like, but that was a 7th grader's decision. Like, and then he said, when you go to high school, take all the typing classes you could take. I took typing 1, 2, 3. Everybody stopped at 1 or 2. I went to 3. I wrote on the school paper. He said school paper yearbook. I did school paper. So I've been a sports writer since 7th grade.
Jeez, man.
So like, but I'm hooping still, right? I got these hoop dreams, and I had really, really bad grades in high school. I had bad guidance. I had a 2.2 GPA in high school. Columbia wanted me to hoop for them. I was like all league. I had a couple 30 points.
Yeah, you was balling.
I was nice.
Balling. Yeah.
But I just remember them saying, yeah, you're good enough to play basketball here, but your grades aren't. And that like shook me, man. So then I go to college, and I remember the letter said, when you go to college, not only write on the school paper, but get as many internships as possible. And so I'm keeping this letter, and I would just sit and read it. And so although I'm playing basketball, I'm preparing myself for college and post-career, and then I met the right people to get me on the right track school-wise. Wrote on the school paper my freshman year. I have a really close friend, teammate from college named Troy McCoy at junior college, Foothill College. He's like, man, you're the only dude I played with that knew what he was doing from the moment he walked in the door. And so I wrote on the school paper. I joined the National Association of Black Journalists. My first internship, when these people talk about you should be paid. No, you shouldn't be paid. You ain't did nothing yet. Why should they pay you? You have no experience. Why should somebody? But if somebody wants to give you experience, take it. Like,
that's right. That's right.
Take it. So I wrote the San Jose Metro weekly newspaper and begged them to write sports stories for them.
Wow.
And they said, yeah. That was my first internship.
Wow.
Then I joined the National Association of Black Journalists. That next summer, I'm playing college basketball at the time. I applied for like 20 journalism internships. Everybody said no.
Wow.
Except for the National Association of Black Journalists took me. NABJ took me into their internship program and sent me to Grand Rapids, Michigan. I must have got the last straw. Like they sent me to Grand Rapids. But the good thing about Grand Rapids is I wasn't in a place of egos where they had all these star reporters like, no, we don't want this kid over here. Man, I wrote a story on a 19-year-old Floyd Mayweather Jr. I covered a Detroit Lions practice.
Wow.
I was covering some minor league baseball games. They let me do a Cubs baseball game.
Wow.
And they also sent me to their convention, and I wrote on the convention newspaper, and the convention was in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I know you was on then.
So I was like, all right. And then, but I wrote on the convention paper, so now I got more confidence. And I went to the University of DC for a year, played basketball there. I'll never forget the coach said, man, if you care about basketball as much as you do that goddamn journalism, you'd be a hell of a player.
Wow.
I'm like, man, I'm playing at UDC. The NBA ain't looking at me. I better care about that goddamn journalism.
Yeah.
And then by the time I went to San Jose State, I was nice now, right? And so after I graduated from San Jose State, or no, the San Jose Mercury News ended up bringing me on to cover high school football games. So now I'm writing in my local paper while I'm in college, trying to play college basketball. My name's in the paper I grew up reading. I'm making a couple extra dollars doing that.
Talk about serendipity.
Graduate, did an internship at the Dallas Morning News, which at that time was the best sports page in the country. It was 75 pages on Sunday. And then while I was interning there, I got offered a job covering Arkansas's football and basketball team, and the head coach was Nolan Richardson.
Ooh.
Like, so I got like one call about maybe playing pro ball in Mexico. Right, my San Jose State basketball career. We could talk about the horrors of that another day, but the thing was like I felt like a first round pick in journalism. You know, I got to cover Nolan Richardson, SEC, Arkansas, and I covered their football team.
You covered them when they had Corliss
No,
Rich?
right after.
Oh.
So they had went to 2 Final Fours, but to touch Nolan Richardson.
Oh yeah.
I love that man. Like I got to cover. Like, who else I'm gonna cover? I'm gonna be scared of. I covered Nolan Richardson, bro. My first year, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
And Nolan like gave me love and like invited me in and like was so happy that there was a black journalist covering Arkansas because I was the first one to ever cover this amazing coach his whole career. So I was like, after that, let's go. Like,
let's go.
You know what I mean? But what if that man didn't write me that letter back?
Yeah.
Like, where would I be? What would I be doing? Like, and his name is Marc, who's recently retired from the San Jose Mercury News. And I always like, thank you. Like, and he's such a humble guy. He's like, you did it.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, but
you handed me the blueprint.
Yeah,
you gave me like
yeah, you need them jewels, bro.
You gave me the formula, man. And I'm forever grateful to him for doing that. And when I get hit up by kids, like I had to talk to him.
Yeah.
It may not be tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk.
Yeah. That's something that I feel like both of you guys have in common. I mean, you shared the story what Marc Purdy did for you, and now you talking to kids.
It's a long story, but I think it's powerful.
No, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
I think people do need to hear that because there's viewers, some of our viewers want to get in the business of basketball or the business of sports. They don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But hearing your story or hearing what Courtney did, just networking, building relationships, or how you guys met.
But the essence of what that guy told me in the 7th grade applies to anybody. To combine what you love most with what you do best in school. Like he said, if you could get that, then you're gonna wake up every day and like your job. He didn't say I was guaranteed to make a fortune. He didn't, say like, but to wake up, like, dude, I cover basketball for a living. You work with basketball for a living.
Yeah.
Like, we run basketball for a living. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You got people calling me like, so Marc, what do you think?
Yeah.
It's Steph Curry, blah, blah, blah. It's Kevin Durant. And I'm like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like, they pay me for that.
Yeah, no,
they
for sure.
actually care what I have to think.
Yeah.
What I think about what KD doing.
And you've been doing it since the 7th grade. Now you have an award.
Yeah, man. That's all right, right?
Hey, man.
Now they need to care what I think. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's just I'm really humbled by it. But the essence of it, like when I mess with other journalists.
Yeah.
When they're like tripping on this, the way this team did. And bro, you cover basketball for them. Stop.
Yeah.
You're right. And I'm like, go walk down the street and go look what all these other folks are doing every day.
Man.
You get to go to this game for free. You get to watch Steph Curry play for free, Kevin Durant, LeBron, free, and travel around with them. Like, this job has taken me all over the world.
Wow.
I went to Bosnia, Turkey, Sweden, Italy, England, France, Monaco, Bahamas, South Africa, Senegal, China. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And I ain't pay for it. They paid for it.
That's
like, I've seen the world through this job, man.
Yeah, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
Basketball, a bouncing ball. Like,
orange ball.
When I was at the press conference today, and I'm gonna shut up because Courtney got stuff to talk about.
We good. We good, man. We good, my bro.
The floor is open.
Matt Weiner asked me, what has basketball, the game of basketball, done for you? And I double clutch lost it, man, when he asked me that. Because it was like, it's allowed me to see the world, man.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to see the world and allowed me to get in the Hall of Fame. And that's exactly what I said. You know, I gave him like, you don't want to give him a double clutch, man. I don't know if it was quite a double clutch, but
no, that's
like,
good.
but it's like, dude, like when I became a sports writer, I didn't know I was gonna get to do all this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to write stories.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have seen the world because of a basketball.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Man, look, it's
and they paid for it.
I feel like that's the bar here.
That's the bar, man.
They pay for it. You just did your job and they pay for it.
And now it ain't coach. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
man, no, it's beautiful. I mean,
and I'm not trying to like. That's just the beauty of what it's afforded me. Like, I don't take that for granted, man.
Yeah.
Basketball bounced me around the world.
Now that shows the powers, though.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Dennis Boateng from LeagueBiz in partnership with DraftKings, who can show you how to handle your sport betting biz and get into the action right now. New customers who bet just $5 on any wager will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Well, how do I get started, you ask? Simple. Download the DraftKings Sports app and use promo code BIZ. So new customers can bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 bonus bets instantly. You can use that $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlay for an opportunity at an even bigger payout. And here's the cool part. You can combine multiple bets together from total points scored and other stats from your favorite player. And if you're already in the know with DraftKings, that's all good, because all customers can get a no sweat same game parlay or same game parlay extra. Get your bonus bet back if your bet doesn't hit. Max rewards limits do apply. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code BIZ and bet just on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code BIZ only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Peace.
Courtney.
Yes, sir.
You obviously we talked about, you being able to speak to families, working with lottery picks and everything. When did it click for you though? To like, man, it's the families that I gotta touch. It's the families that I gotta give information to. When did that click for you?
So again, I always attribute everything to my parents. My parents have supported me in any and everything that I wanted to do. I mean, literally. My dad's, he was more buttoned up from the standpoint, because I remember the first time I told him I wanted to get in sports, he said, son, only white men get those jobs. That's what he said. And I said, yes, sir, Daddy. But I said to myself, I'm gonna be the first black boy to get one. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it 100. And so, and just growing up with my mom and dad, I thought it was so important in this industry. Everybody wants to talk to the player first, right? And I just took it back to my home training. dealing with me, you had to run through my parents, especially my dad. So I talk to parents first and educate them. Those are the gatekeepers, right? And so, my process in working with these families, I normally like to take a 2 or 3 year runway so we get to know each other, right? And once I get to know them and we start to talk, I educate them about the process. How do you select an agent? How do you pick a financial advisor? How do you look for your CPA? And just really educate them, right? And so that's like a 2 or 3 year process. And I just think it's so important for the families to know how this business operates inside and out, because they go into this business with a very rudimentary understanding, and I tell families, sometimes families are, when I say families, just not necessarily moms and dads, but it can be brothers and sisters or whoever. Sometimes people think they can just, I want to manage my son or I want to manage my brother. It's not that easy. The analogy the analogy I give them is, I say, okay, I said, if your son was on a bicycle and he scrapes his knee, you can put some Neosporin and peroxide on the Band-Aid to get hit, and he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But I said, if he needs heart surgery, are you gonna try to do that? First question they're gonna say is no. Why not? I don't. So what make, and I don't try to belittle them, but when you sit down,
keep it real.
when you just keeping it real, when you sit down with these folks who've been doing this 20 years, 15, 20, 30 years, I always ask, what makes you think you have the aptitude or the skill set to go toe-to-toe with them?
Yeah.
Do you know the language? Do you know the current trends? Do you know how these companies are funded? Are they publicly traded? Are they privately traded? What's their cap table? What's their market cap? Do you know these business terms? Because if they start talking over your head, the first time you say, I don't know what you're talking about, already lost. Do you know where these folks went to school? And I just felt, I don't even feel, the need for parents to know how this game works. If you can't explain this sports business, the same way you can, and I tell families, I don't know the game of basketball. Coming up here, going down here, get out on the wing. I don't know what any of that thing, pick and pop. I don't know what any of that stuff is.
You got the terminology.
I know, but I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah.
If you don't know the business of sports the same way you know the basketball game, the game on the court, I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's gonna be a real steep, deep and learning curve. And I just have a deep affinity for teaching families and parents about how this game works, educating them, preparing them. Because my parents I just always felt prepared in anything I did. So that's more than anything. And I think the most important thing is I didn't get in front of money, because I've been wanting to do this since I was like 5, 6.
Yeah.
You can make a boatload of paper.
Yeah.
I know the young, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. But it takes time. You really have to have an affinity, because you're gonna take initially, I won't say you won't have a lot of L's, but you're gonna take a lot of learning lessons before you can get to the paper, and you're afforded these opportunities for people to pick up your phone call. But it's really more so, I really like teaching these families how this game works. And since I do it, just working with lottery picks, we just strictly focus on lottery picks. You get to see how the best of whatever it is do things, and it's really just educating those families. That has been a great pleasure, great joy for me.
Can I say something about this
for sure.
too?
Yeah.
It's like, you got to get behind the curtain too. You've been able to do that, which is really hard to do, because these kids are that family's lottery ticket.
That's their ticket.
And if you mess it up, that's a lot on you to carry. You know what I mean? So they're looking at you, if they're giving you their baby in a sense. Like, this is, for a lot of Black families, for a lot of families of color, like, this is it.
This is our ticket.
This is our ticket out. This is, and it could even be a middle class family. Like, this is
for sure.
It's our way.
Our way to millions. And I don't know how, like, I don't know if it was the Carters who, Wendells, like, I don't know if they were first, but if you mess up with that first group, you ain't sitting here either.
No. You know what? And you have to be, and that's why, that's a very good point, man. I get inundated with calls from just a lot of different service providers. People want to do this. And man, I say no probably out of 100 times, 99.9. Because if I mess up one time, you out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally, I mean, it's no
Don't go with him.
It's no
Don't go with
do-overs.
him.
It's no do-overs.
Yeah.
It's
You know how he
no
did my boy?
do-overs.
Yeah.
You know, it's no
He working
do-overs.
at McDonald's
Man,
now.
tell him. He's telling Spears is telling the absolute truth. It's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
do-overs. There is no make.
You can't have a loss.
You can't have any.
You have to
Yeah.
be perfect.
You got to be perfect because the families will, if you don't deliver,
Yeah.
families will talk. And that's one of the reasons why I like to have a long runway, a
Yeah.
2 or 3 year runway. Normally, like I said, on average, it's about 3 years I start working with families before they get to the league.
Yeah.
And then to just establish that trust. Because I have to figure out if I want to work with the family just as much as they want to work with me. But to Spears' point, man, you can't mess anything up. And it's all about educating these families. Because I don't make the decisions. I just try to inundate them with a ton of knowledge,
Yeah.
with facts, data, and statistics, so they can make a sound decision. But you definitely can't make any mistakes. I mean, you can't
But you also probably have to weed some people out too.
Yeah, I have to weed a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very good. So what I have to do is, for instance, if somebody wants to, we'll just say somebody wants to think about going with agency A, right? The first thing I'll do is I'll ask them, what are you looking for in an agent or agents? That's the first thing I'll ask. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say, I want a sneaker deal or a shoe. Who can get me And I ask them what they want long term. So, and the reason I ask them these questions is because if you know what you want to do long term, that's going to help figure out what agency you want to go with. And just really making sure they understand. Because if you ask them when they were transitioning from high school to college, they know the difference between a Power 5 school and going to a junior college. They'll tell you, if I'm going to this school that's a blue blood, they flying first class, got an excellent training table, they got this, they got this, they got this, they got this. But then I ask them why you want to go with this agency. You don't hear. They don't know, right? And so, they just don't know. They'll see it from a vanity piece because agency A has a lot of clients. But, just because that firm has a lot of clients, it doesn't mean it's a good fit. It's kind of like shoes, You may like a certain shoe or a shirt.
Or do they have time for you?
Do they have time for you and really finding out?
I'm on agent 4.
They're on agent 4.
I'm not just as a journalist, I'm an agent 4 because, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. It's just really making sure they have that knowledge, Dennis, and really understanding how this works. But Spears, he struck a nerve when he said, man, you can't make no mistakes with this, bro.
And I do want to ask too, though, because so you talk about not making no mistake with the parents.
You can't make
Now you're writing stories about these athletes who also have these parents. Has any parent ever come for you why'd you write this about my kid? Or
not any of mine, not the ones.
I think by the time they get to me, they're the grown man. You know what I mean? Like they're I've had a PR person yell at me. I got yelled at the other day. And I saw the guy there today and he congratulated me, but you'll laugh at this. He's from Atlanta. I just say the Thunder weren't too happy about, they weren't too happy that Jabari Smith and Junior and Senior felt that Junior had a promise from the Thunder and then they picked, didn't pick him.
Yeah.
I told him that, you could give me a comment and I'll put it in the story and I'm still waiting on the comment.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's the people in every story will find something they don't like, So I really have to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because I'll be called all kinds of names. What was the name I got called at one time? She laughs at it now. Tell me, say it.
Casserole, burn casserole or something. Fire.
Yeah, somebody said, you a big old burnt casserole. Like, what are you talking about? Like, the block button is sensational. I love the block button.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, you
But
gotta use it.
in my business, like, he can't make a mistake, but what in my business is, it's like a chef. Like, no matter what, somebody not gonna like what you cook sometimes. Or like, so a lot of times what I write, like, it might strike a chord with somebody. Like, why you bring that up?
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta have a thick skin about it. But you know, Greg Popovich once told me the one thing I like about you is you're fair.
Mm.
Greatest compliment coach ever
I
gave
was
me.
gonna say that's a lot coming
Yeah,
from
Pop.
yeah.
from
He said, you're
Pop.
fair.
Yeah,
As long as I'm fair, then I can sleep at night with
yeah,
what I write about, you know, because there's no hidden agenda. And as much as there's all these players that I have a lot of love for, but I got to tell the truth about what happened. Like,
no, for sure, you got to.
or not write it at all. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be like, you know, there was a certain player in the NBA this season, and his people hit me up, and they asked me if I'd like to talk to him as he spoke for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you know, I'm just gonna have to ask some tough questions.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, it's gonna be a softball thing.
Yeah,
like,
no.
it's gonna be fair questions, but so that's like the tough thing with me is, like, I gotta do my job, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, what you have to write about, sometimes it's gonna be tough to hear.
Yeah.
For people, like, to bring up stuff that happened but what happened. Like I said, I don't have any hidden agenda, but when you tell a story, you got to tell the story. But I do think that, like, there have been some players that don't speak to nobody, and they've opened up to me, and that, like, is like the greatest, like, compliment, you know, like DeJounte Murray talking to me about how he emails people in jail every morning.
Oh, wow.
You know, or Kyle Lowry, he don't talk to nobody, but he'll do a sit down with me because Chauncey Billups told me that he could trust me.
Yeah.
So to your point, there's equity that I've earned where now I've been around long enough where these dudes have read my stories, or when I go into a locker room and they're like, oh, he don't really like act like this around most reporters, but around him, all of a sudden now he like excited to see him. And also, like, in the bubble, I think the one thing that helped me a lot was I was writing about social justice issues.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of social justice issues. So I think the players, like, I remember seeing Jaylen Brown look at me in the bubble, was like, brother. Like, thank you for coming. Like, sit down. How much time do you need? Like, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think, sadly, when it comes to social justice, a lot of it was seasonal. It was easy to talk about George Floyd and social justice after it happened, and Breonna Taylor, who's writing about it now.
Yeah.
Racism ain't dead.
It's not.
We're still fighting. Everybody's still fighting, you know? People of color are fighting. Women are fighting. People in the LGBTQ plus are fighting for equality and what's right. And so I love being able to, like, bring those stories to light, but no matter what I write, there's gonna be somebody that doesn't like it. I've gotten death threats before.
Are you serious?
People that call me out my name and this and that. And I had to get security once in Toronto. Like,
what?
Like, but that's you know, it sadly comes with this job.
Wow.
Right? Like, just because I write about stuff that have depth to it, and why you gotta bring that up? You know, because I have to bring it up, because maybe I can make somebody else's life better by bringing it up, or maybe it inspires somebody else for bringing it up, or maybe it gives somebody a vision of inspiration because I brought it up. And so to write those stories, man, like, it's such a beautiful gift that I get to have. Yeah. Like, for somebody to say, man, you wrote that and that. Wow. You know, I like it makes me feel like some rapper they like that can inspire people, or a preacher that can inspire people. It's not me, I'm just telling people stories, but I like really sit and think about, All-Star Weekend, what can I write about? We're going to Utah. We talk about how a dude from East Oakland ended up in Ogden, Utah, and played for Weber State, and now Damian Lillard is one of the best players in the world. Yeah. Like, how did that happen? How did this dude end up at Weber State?
Yeah, I don't know.
And come Sunday, the All-Star game, you're gonna have all these white folks in the arena cheering loudly for him.
Yeah.
Just as loud for him as they cheer for marketing, because the impact he made on Ogden, Utah resonated with the state.
No, for sure.
You know, but like I just really try to think about what nobody else is thinking about. Like, try to come up with something different, or just even let these guys just talk. And a lot of them like are just so deep, just listening to them talk. I'm just turning on the mic and I'm gonna just print what you say, because that was deep.
Yeah.
And so I love it.
Yeah.
You know what, Dennis? One thing I definitely wanted to highlight was, so somebody that's probably been kind of like a godfather. One of Marc's mentors is Bill Rhoden, right? And
Mr. Rhoden.
Mr. Rhoden. Oh yeah, you know.
I don't call him.
I always call him Mr. Rhoden. You know, yeah. And so, you know, Mr. Rhoden has something called a Rhoden Scholars, and that gives, you know, students that go to HBCUs opportunities to write and skate. And so many people, you know, anybody that knows me knows HBCUs, for those who don't know, historically black colleges and universities, that's my thing. And so many young people that go to HBCUs, even though you got all of the technology and all these things, they don't think it's a way out, or they can't get in sports or work in the sports business. And one of the things that I always say is use your network. It's two different things. It's two things. It's one thing to do something that you want to do, but it's a totally another thing to do something that you have the skill set to do. It's two different things.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things. You may want to do something, but you don't have the skill set to do it. I wanted to work in sports, but I don't have the skill set that Marc has to write.
Yeah.
Analytics possibly was not my thing.
Yeah.
Sports science was possibly not my thing, but I know how to network.
Yeah.
I know how to write thank you letters. I know how to write thank you notes. I know how to call. I know how to take, and that's what I use.
You have a cadence of how you speak to people too.
Yeah. And so,
yeah, brother.
Marc.
I'm trying to get it down.
Marc.
You're like, I don't know what he just said, but yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Marc, you know, Marc's sweet spot is writing.
Yeah.
You know, yours is interviewing.
Yeah.
So everybody has a
but look, what is the volume level now?
Yeah, it's just very smooth. Just down here. Yeah.
And I think when people talk to him, it's just a comfort level. They're like,
yeah,
you're not screaming at him. It doesn't sound like game.
No, it's not. And I just, you know, my thing is just for these young people to understand, just use your skill set to get where you want to get. And I think if you use your skill set, your chances will be a lot better if you want to work in the sports business, because it's extremely competitive. When I meet with these agencies, and 9 times out of 10, I'm the only black person in the room. It's like that. Not some of the time, most of the time, pretty much all of the time.
All the time.
But I just use my skill set and I know, since I have the relationships with the players, that kind of, I use that as a deodorant to vaporize the room and neutralize it.
Okay, with the metaphors.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's
when
just,
he first said deodorant, I was like, okay, where's
it going? No, but that was beautiful.
But he hit it.
I mean, that's what, and I think if folks who want to get in this sports business, and this is for folks in high school, elementary, middle school, college, use your talent to get where you want to get.
Yeah.
And it has to be something that you're really, really good at. You have to be in that 1%. Just as like they say, they have the 1% of the millionaires, or it's only 1% or 2% people play in the NBA. You really have to be in that 1%. to make it in this sports business. And so whatever you say you can do, I always ask people, if you say you do something so well, would you be really willing to bet your mother or your father's life on it? Wow. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be in it.
Wow.
Because I tell anybody, whatever you can afford to lose, you can't beat me in networking. You just can't. I've done it locally. I've done it nationally.
You're good. You're good.
You got to be good.
Yeah.
And so you have to be willing to bet something you can't lose. And if you can't bet your mother's life that you're in that 1%, you can't sit with me. You just can't.
Talk that talk.
It's the truth, because you have to have an extreme amount of temerity and courage to do it.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dennis Boateng here from LeagueBiz, where we talk about the business of basketball. But the cool thing is that we're doing this in partnership with DraftKings, okay? Shout out to DraftKings for being in partnership with us and making sure that we're able to make this happen. Now, why am I here today? I'm here to show you some cool things on DraftKings, all right? So we're here to talk about daily fantasy. Now, as I'm on the site, check it out, I see something that's really interesting, right? I want to check out this NBA 100K 4-point play, all right? The reason why I'm also interested is because the entry fee is $4 and 20 entries max. Okay, let's look a little bit deep into the rules here, okay? So, of course, as I said, the entry's $4. You get multiple entries up to 20. All right. And here's the cool thing. Like, the contest features $100,000 in total prizes, and it pays out to the top 7,513 finishing positions. First place receiving $10,000. All right. So when we take a look, first place wins $10,000, second place $5,000, third place $3,000. And it goes all the way down to $6. So you're able to come up on $2 if you're not able to get to where you want to. But if you are able to actually do what you want to do and actually win something, you're able to get to $10,000 in first place, okay? All right, I'm interested. Let's look into it. Let's go and try to draft a team here. All right, so we got 8 spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 spots. I have a salary of $50,000. Okay, $50,000 that I can use to pick players to help me be a winner. Okay, so as we look here, one thing is you got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to know what's going on, who can actually help you. All right, so I think point guard, I think I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. Now, here's the thing, too, that you guys got to think about. You got $50,000, so you got to be really smart. You got to be intricate. Like, you got to make sure that you're able to, have enough to get the team that you think can get you to where you want to get to. But we can scan some more, okay? Let's scan some more. I don't want to go too crazy, okay? So, got 35,700 left. All right. So now we gotta be a little smart. We gotta be a bit more smarter. I'm gonna go with Reddish. That's the thing. You gotta know these players, what they're capable of doing, because you gotta play it smart. All right. So I got 26,900 left. All right. I need a center. A center that's going to help me along with this team to give me the first place. I'm going ball. The cool thing is you got to be watching these games too. You got to know these players. You have to know these players. You got to pick your players. Like, you just got to know. You know? You just got to know. So let me see. All right. So I just picked my team. Don't judge my team until you enter and do your thing, okay? So once again, $4 to enter, prizes up to $100,000. First place wins a $10,000. Second place, I believe, $5,000, and it goes all the way down to you win. You can, win $6, right, from your $4. And also the cool thing is, like, you get to have multiple entries. Max, I think, is 20 entries for this, right? So the NBA 100K 4-point play contest, 20 entries max, $4 entry. Come on now, you just can't beat that, okay? So I chose my team. We'll see how it does, but I want you to choose your team too. And the way that you can do that is actually by tapping into DraftKings.com/biz. All right. When you go to DraftKings.com, use code BIZ. All right. Because that is how you can have some parts of this winning and get in these contests and actually tap in, use your knowledge, your basketball knowledge, and see where you can get. Maybe you can get to first place, or maybe you can get to second, or I don't know where else you're gonna get until you try it. But with that being said, I'm Dennis Boateng, host of LeagueBiz, where we talk about the business of basketball. And I want to give a big shout out to DraftKings. Thanks for being in partnership with us. Appreciate you and looking forward to the great things. And make sure you guys stay tuned in for more shows. Peace.
Also touched on the thing that I think a lot of young kids got to realize that they don't realize, which I think I kind of notice, is like when you go to a game, and I say this to like young kids, like, look how many people have when you go to a Jazz game, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many people are working for the Jazz when you go into the Vivint Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or soon be the Delta Center. Like, how many people there like actually working for them? What I mean by that is you could work for the team, be a part of the team without playing a game.
Yeah.
When you go to a Jazz game, the trainer, like just a bench, you got coaches, you got trainers, you got a doctor, you got player development coaches, you got a masseuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then next to the bench is security. A lot of security. You need somebody to run security, you need somebody to be security, right?
Yes, sir.
Then if you look to the right of the bench, who's sitting at the table? Somebody got to do the clock, somebody got to play the music. Somebody got to say, now, starting for, then who's controlling the big screen up there?
Yeah.
How the score changing? How they getting video on the screen? What about the LED boards? Who's getting the sponsorship on those LED boards that you see?
That's right.
From Delta, from Vivint. Like, they just don't go up there on themselves. Somebody had to work out a deal to put those things there, right?
Yeah.
The seats, who sold the tickets? Somebody had to sell the tickets. They just show up and just walk in and sit down.
Mm-hmm.
No, you had to buy the tickets from somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Suites. How did they get the suites? How did they rent the suites? What companies own the suites? How much did they pay for it? What kind of contract did they get for that? Like, there's so many jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the Warriors have close to 500, I believe, full-time employees. So, when they win a championship, the players get a ring, but the employees get it too.
Yeah.
Like, they all got rings. They all got championship rings. They all get their own ceremony. They all get to be a part of it. So, like, the same way, like I said, I got into the Hall of Fame without playing. Like, you could get an NBA championship ring without shooting three.
That is a fact.
If you're a part of the team, you work for the team, and they win, then you get a ring too. It ain't Steph's ring, but it's a ring.
It's a ring.
And I ask there's Warriors, since I live in the Bay, I keep mentioning Warriors, I live in the Bay. Warriors employees that have been there for a while. I'm like, where are your rings at? Oh man, I got them in the safe, like, cause they got several of them, right?
Yeah.
I got them in the safety deposit box,
Man.
you know, and it's their name on it. And so they're part of the team, part of the championship, right? Like, that's the cool thing. Like, if you're involved in sports, whether it's the pro level, the college level, the high school level, elementary school level, like, there's so many ways for you to be part of a team without shooting a shot, without making a tackle, without hitting a home run. Like, and so that's why any kid that loves sports, if they do, like, use what you do best to get in.
That's exactly what it is.
In sports, there is no genre of work that doesn't associate with a pro sports franchise, right? Or college sports. Somebody got to be in charge of the music. E40 came and rap. How did E40 come? Somebody had to get somebody to sing the national anthem, right? Somebody had to cook the food. That food that was in the suite, that you know, they got somebody in there bringing in wine. Who's the sommelier? Like, he got a ring. Like, all these people, like, you don't have to be a hooper
to get in the
to
game.
get a ring, to get in the game. And so that's what I think a lot of kids have to realize. If you do love sports, I could be on a team without putting on shorts.
Without putting a jersey on and none of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you guys about culture, because we were talking about, you know, Goody Mob, and Andre 3000. We brought up E40. How much of, like, hip hop or pop culture itself influences what you guys are doing prospectively, and whether it's talking to the players or helping the players, or you writing a story that's gonna, you know, blow up the spot?
You know, when it comes to culture, it's, you know, it's just not music, it's dress. It's just everything. And these young guys, they pay attention to everything. So I have to know all the music. I love hip hop. Rap. Like we were talking about earlier, Goody Mob. T-Boo and Cujo. Childhood friends. So music is deeply ingrained in the culture of sports. But you got to know fashion. You got to know the current issues. You got to know the slang. And so that's just part of who I am. But you definitely have to be able to resonate, because if you go in there with a suit and, hey, how are you doing? It's gonna be a certain barrier. But I have to know all the young groups out there. Man, you listen to such and such. You like 42 Doug. You like such and such and such. You like such and and we'll vibe. Then I may bring them back on my side of town. You mentioned the Bay. I may ask them, do they like, what you know about SIBO, or what you know about E40, or what you know about Mac Mall, what you know about Mac Dre, and they're like, who are that? And then I have to play it. And so, we learn from each other, but culture and music is it goes hand in hand. It's like peanut butter and jelly, you know?
One thing that helps me too is Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, Instagram better than television.
It's the new television.
Bruh, I laugh. Instagram is so funny, man. But Instagram teaches me about who's hot in music. I'm not doing TikTok. I stop right there. But Instagram, and they put TikTok videos on Instagram.
It's the new TV.
But it teaches me about who's hot music-wise, and dang, what's the homeboy from Philly now? Like, he pushed Meek Mill to the side.
Uzi Vert.
Like, I'm silly. I'm really silly, unfortunately. And so, if you watch my stories, I post videos of people dance to Lil Uzi Vert song. I just think it's funny to me. Or they jab it. So I'm gonna post that. So Instagram helps me, but one of the things that but as a journalist, you gotta also be on top of it. I gotta know what these dudes is into, right? So when Nipsey Hussle died, I remember being in the locker room and they were talking about it. And they're crushed by it. And these dudes had a game, and then several of them, I was, like I said, live in the Bay Area. I still remember, it was a Sunday afternoon, like a matinee, not a matinee, it was like a 5 o'clock game. Nipsey had died like an hour
before
the game started, Pacific. And the players knew, and I know DeMarcus Cousins had met him, Curry had done like something with him. And DeMarcus Cousins was listening to Nipsey Hussle music on the way to the game. So I actually interviewed several players about Nip, and see, I said that Nip. See how
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? And wrote a story about it.
Yeah.
But if I take it back even further, I was actually supposed to do an interview with him because I had went to Vancouver to do a piece on his tattoo artist. Did KD, did like Dame, DeMarcus Cousins, DeAndre Jordan. Yeah. And he was gonna set me up with the video piece I did with him, with Nipsey. And he's like, he does Future too.
Okay.
He said, I don't know the Future will do it. This guy named Steve Weeb. But he said, I think Nipsey was, so I was in the process of working through him.
Yeah.
And now I love Nipsey's music, and I was somewhat familiar with it at the time. I was familiar. I was definitely familiar with his music, but now after that, I was even like, I went back.
Yeah.
I was more into Victory Lap, you know what I mean? But that, I think that came out after he passed.
Yeah, Victory Lap came out during the time, so
yeah,
he was Grammy
like
nominated.
I was very well versed in Victory Lap, but not, most of his other stuff.
The mixtapes and
yeah. But my point is, like, it's important for me. Like, I got to do things differently now. So like, it ain't like I'm hanging out in the club in East Oakland going dumb, right? But I could go on Instagram and see what the latest is, what they're doing, the trends. And then, so that keeps me like, I'm not gonna be as hip as a 25-year-old reporter anymore. I'm not, right?
Just
but,
what it is,
but I could talk to them about hey, this is going on. This is the latest trend. This is hot. And then also, I think the key is getting to his point, is I try to get to know these guys when they're, like, I met Karl Anthony Towns when he was 15.
Yeah.
Meeting these guys earlier before they blow up, because a lot of times, because I've been around a long time, they know who I am.
Yeah.
So when they're like excited to meet me at that point, like who knows, it changes later, right?
Yeah,
but they remember you.
Yeah.
They remember you, and it helps you down the line once they do make it to the NBA.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you earlier when you were talking about writing and even just sometimes writing the things that aren't the most popular thing to write, and people are like, well, why did you write about that? Have you ever written something that scared you?
What do you give me definition
So,
of scared?
For instance, just talking about like during the pandemic, there was so much going
Yeah.
on. And of course,
No, I think when you write about race,
yeah,
it's inevitable that there are going to be racist people that don't like it,
yeah,
and that will say something.
yeah.
And I don't read comments on I don't even think we have comments under our stories anymore. Thank God. They did when I was at Yahoo. I never read them.
You got your comments set off on your Instagram, Spears.
Yeah,
you do.
I did.
Yeah, you see, Courtney knows.
Yeah, but you can comment.
I don't think so, but I'll try.
Well,
I always
then you got some weird thing that I ain't followed you yet.
Oh,
And I didn't know that was you.
Yeah.
No, but well, I'll say this.
Y'all get that together.
I had an incident where I said something I shouldn't have said regretfully on TV, thinking, trying to be funny. And people didn't like it, and they made their presence though.
Yeah.
And so, but Michael Smith, he used to work for ESPN. He saw what I was going through because it was like this backlash, and he's like, bro, make it where unless you phone them, they can't comment. But they could still send you a message on like Instagram or Twitter, whatever, but that it's not like, I remember Clipper Darrell, you know who Clipper Darrell is?
Yeah, of course. I met him.
Clipper Darrell got knocked out.
Yeah, I heard about that.
At a Clippers game. And then so he posted something about coming back. And all these people like, oh yeah, you got your ass kicked, you got knocked out, you're not knocked the F out and all this
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, and I told him, like, dude, just put on your thing. Like, unless they follow you, they can't comment.
Yeah.
And so it's sad that I got to do that because there are a lot of good people who want to comment on like things on Instagram and have sent me messages like, yo, why can't I say something?
Yeah.
I don't know you, son.
That too.
See, I ain't big like Marc, so I can just keep mine regular. Nobody.
That's why I don't know you.
I keep mine regular, degular.
It's like Courtney at Courtney Goody Mile, whatever your Instagram is. I didn't even know it was you.
Courtney too smooth out here. Got like 5 accounts,
no
man.
socks.
No. Hey, you know that, but anyway.
But no, Courtney too. I want to further talk to you too about content. You know, obviously, you work in that side when it comes to players, and tell us a little bit about the importance of building content.
Yeah. So before I started, I probably did about a 2-year case study, right, to see what's really missing, what was really missing in the ecosystem. So obviously, you know, the player is, you know, obviously wanted to work with players, but I really studied. I was like, everybody wants to go and work directly with the player. But I said the parents aren't educated. And so in developing my philosophy, the first thing I said I was going to do was really educate those parents. But you had to have an end. Like, you know, working with some of the best players in the world, you just can't walk off the street and expect to, hey, my name is Courtney Scott. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So I had someone who worked with a major organization, and he told me, Courtney, I need you to come out here. And this is where all of the top players are going to be. I went out to this big event, and their families are going to be there. And I literally walked around the whole gym. These are the best of the best of the best players. Nothing but lotteries. How you doing? My name is Courtney Scott. So nice to meet you. And so
He gave you the whole government name.
the whole government name. And so I didn't ask for their telephone number. And so during this course of this 3 or 4 day event, hey, you know, after we started talking, I said, oh, you know what, Mr. Such and Such or Mrs. Such and Such, is it okay if we exchange numbers and stay in contact? Absolutely, Courtney. And that's how I started to develop the relationships. I would text, they would text me back, they would ask questions. And so I always believe in my philosophy with content, just like you have some higher top tier brands that you never see commercials for. My thing was going to be, I'm never going to sell. I said, I'm going to let the product sell itself. Just like you see these folks buy expensive cars, expensive jewelry. I said, I'm never, ever going to sell. So families began to ask me, Courtney, so what is it that you do? And that was my way in the door. I said, well, Mr. and Mrs. Such and Such, this is what I do. That's exactly what I did. And that was the process, because I never wanted to sell, you know, because I just believe the best things you do not have to sell. They just sell themselves.
Yeah.
And so in that process, they would ask me, what do I do? And I would explain the whole process of what I did and along those lines. And they said, well, Courtney, we need some help doing this draft process.
Yeah.
And it just rolled into it. And so, you know, the whole premise of the content, my tagline is the search firm for lottery picks and their families. And obviously, you know, and some the guys that are not lottery picks, they still fall into the all of them have gone into the first round. I've never had a family who's gone in the second round.
Wow.
So they've been lottery or first round
You might
picks.
need to be a scout.
You know what? I don't know the game of basketball. Like
Getting first rounders only, you doing something.
Yeah. You know what? But
I
think the sweet spot is really just educating them, and I just really stayed true to it. But probably the most people will probably find the most difficult part is you got to wait 3 to 4 years. I started content in 2014. I didn't get my first client till 18, and so you really have to stay the course. Once I got that first family, I was still building, and I was just able to build. And my friends that work in corporate America, they let me leverage their assets, not giving me money, but use their different platforms. They work with Fortune 5 companies, and they would allow me to create partnerships with their companies. And that's how I was able to get from point A to point B. And to that point, they say success begets success. I just attached my brand content to blue chip companies. And that's what helped it go. So everything lined up. Lottery picks, blue chip companies. And I tell them I know you and Marc, and that really took me out of here.
No, that's good. I want to ask you this, Marc. Obviously, you got your award.
I ain't get it yet. In August.
Well,
they said I'm gonna get it.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
We're celebrating you.
Yeah. Thank you.
What's next for you?
Looking at my PR person over here.
I know you got to check in.
I'm working on a television show.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited about. It's landscape related, iron sharpens iron television show.
And congratulations.
Black television show.
Man, congratulations
Come back
ahead
have
of
another
time.
conversation about
Yes, we would love to have you back.
Yeah.
We would love to have you back.
It gets deep.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I'm looking forward
It's
to
good
it.
because it's at this point in your career, like at the point in my career, like it's cool to diversify, get an opportunity to diversify.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm known as an NBA guy and I'm really, really proud about it. But I think I got some depth in me. I think I can talk about some other stuff.
Yeah, no, for
You know?
sure. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Me and my homies all ears.
Yeah.
So Dennis, you remember what I told you? You got to make sure you and Marc stay in contact.
No, for sure. For sure, I will.
We're going to lift and climb.
So I got to follow so you can comment?
No. You got, hey, listen, my thing is.
I got you. I'll follow you, dog.
No.
No, that's love. I'll take that.
I'm all about connecting. So,
Yeah.
when Marc gets ready to pass the torch, we need to do a smooth handoff. You guys doing a 4x100.
And I'm all about getting you some socks because it's cold
Spears,
outside. We're in Salt Lake City.
No doubt.
You out here with no socks on, trying to be cute.
Hey, man,
Trying to
I
be
got
cute.
a big jacket over there, though.
Yeah. But no, I want to thank you guys so much for just sitting down with me, having this conversation on LeagueBiz. Obviously, we talk about, the business of basketball and the culture that surrounds it. And I think that you guys just did me just an amazing favor by sharing your story, the blueprint that you received, and also what you do.
Oh,
So thank y'all so much. Marc.
You owe me a sweater.
Courtney.
He said he gonna give me one of the
Yeah, I
sweaters
got you.
he got on.
No, I
It's
got
dope.
you. I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
My
care
man.
of you. Yeah. But all right, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Spears.
Yeah.
Thank you.